You ever get that feeling when you look at what's happening in the world? With the climate, geopolitics, all the crazy tech changes, and you just think, we're completely adrift. Like we're all on this speeding bus, but there is nobody, and I mean nobody, in the driver's seat? Well, if you feel that way, you are definitely not alone.
So let's start with this quote from political scientist Ian Bremmer. It's such a powerful image, right? It's not just that no one's driving, it's that the map we've been using, our geopolitical GPS, is totally broken. This idea is the very heart of a concept he calls the G0.
And this image right here just nails the feeling. You've got this runaway bus, it's labeled World Order, and look where it's headed. Climate crisis, digital warfare, multipolar chaos. Yeah, not exactly vacation spots. This is the perfect metaphor for G0, a world careening toward massive challenges with absolutely no one steering us to safety.
All right, so let's really dig into this diagnosis. What exactly is Ian Bremmer talking about when he says we're living in a G0 world, a world with no one at the wheel? Okay, so at its core, G0 is all about a power vacuum. I mean, for decades, you had pretty clear leaders, right? First the G2 in the Cold War, then the G7, kind of led by the US. But Bremmer's argument is that the G7 is weaker now, and the G20, which was supposed to be the new big thing, is just too divided to get anything done. So there's no country or group that can really set the agenda anymore.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine the world as a giant condo building. All the nations are in a big meeting, everyone's yelling, making demands, blaming each other. But when it comes to the real problems, like, say, cleaning the shared staircase or fixing a leaky roof, nobody wants to step up. The US says, hey, I'll just clean my own floor, while everyone else is still fighting over what to name the building. And the result? The stairs stay filthy and the roof just keeps on leaking. Or try this one on for size. The world is like a giant bumper car arena. Every nation thinks it's a brand new Tesla, just confidently speeding ahead toward its own goals. But there are no rules of the road, no shared direction, so what happens? High-speed collisions aren't just a possibility, they're pretty much guaranteed.
Now, and this is a super important point, G0 doesn't mean there's no power. Oh, there's plenty of power. It's just fragmented. It's a total mess. Militarily, the US is still the top dog. Economically, though, it's a total free-for-all with lots of different players. And the digital world? Well, that's being shaped by giant tech companies and authoritarian governments. These three worlds don't line up, and that creates constant friction.
And a huge piece of this puzzle, according to Bremmer, is how the world sees the United States now. The country that pretty much built the old system is now seen as unpredictable and unreliable. It's like the main architect just walked off the job, leaving this massive void that no one else can or even wants to fill.
Okay, but this is where we gotta pause and ask a really important question. Is this diagnosis actually right? Or could it be something a little more dangerous? I mean, seriously, think about it. If all we hear from the experts is that there's no leadership, that global cooperation is doomed to fail, doesn't that make us all just want to give up? Does talking about the problem so much actually become the problem? It's like by constantly diagnosing paralysis, maybe we're accidentally creating it.
And folks who push back on this G0 idea, they've got a few key points. They say, hey, maybe you're exaggerating how much the US has declined, or maybe you're underestimating how much emerging countries want to lead. But the biggest critique? That the whole theory is just too focused on countries and completely misses all the other powerful players out there.
And this right here, this comparison just perfectly sums up the big critique. The G0 model sees the world like a 19th century chessboard, an old-school game where only nation-states get to play. But the world today? It's much more like an episode of Black Mirror. It's a wild, unpredictable game, played with algorithms, social media, and AI. The G0 theory might just be using an analog map to get around in a digital world.
Okay, so if the G0 map is out of date, what other maps are out there? Well, a lot of other thinkers have come up with different ways to see how power works today.
You've got thinkers like Joseph Nye and Anne-Marie Slaughter, who don't see an empty void at all. They see power shifting away from military might toward things like influence and collaboration. Then you've got others like Parag Khanna, who say what really matters now is who controls the connections, the infrastructure. Peter Zeihan sees the whole system breaking down. But here's the common thread. The world isn't empty. It's just reorganizing in brand new ways. And this image, wow, it really gives you a picture of what that new world could look like. It's not one big pyramid of power, it's more like a bunch of floating islands. You've got cities, scientists, activist groups, tech companies, and they're all linked together by these bridges of cooperation. It suggests a whole new kind of order is possible, one that doesn't need a single boss.
So this leads us to the big finale, the final takeaway. What if this G0 void isn't a void at all? What if it's actually the perfect space for brand new types of leadership to grow?
So what if we just flip the script here? Instead of a story about paralysis and decline, what if we start seeing this moment as an ecosystem of experimentation? A time when the old system breaking down actually creates the room for new ideas and solutions to finally take root.
And this visual says it all. Fragmentation doesn't have to mean emptiness. It can be fertile ground. In the cracks of that old, rigid system, all these new alliances and coalitions are starting to grow, finding new ways to work together.
So who are these new leaders? I mean, who are the people actually getting stuff done? Well, they're the new global doers. We're talking about mayors of huge cities making climate pacts. We're talking about scientists sharing data across borders to stop pandemics. It's corporations, nonprofits, tech giants, all building solutions from the ground up, not waiting for governments to give them the green light.
And that brings us to this quote, which just nails the whole point. Sure, G0 is a good label for the problem. It names the deadlock. But that's just step one. Sitting around and just describing the problem over and over, well, that's like waiting for a solution that's never going to show up. It's time for action.
So, at the end of the day, waiting for some new global leader to save us is just not the answer. The new leadership isn't going to be a single person or country. It's going to be a network, a whole web of coordinated action. And that brings the question right back to us, to you. It's not just about what country you live in anymore. It's about what networks you choose to join. In a world without a driver, we all have a hand on the wheel. So the real question is, which network will you choose to be part of?